At this point, it feels like I've created every single one of my tools that I needed. I have, let me show off actually, this thing, I'm gonna show off in a later video. I have this thing, I have, how do I do this? Oh, this thing, I guess. I have this thing, I have this thing. I have a lot of things, and seemingly I made everything, but there was one thing still missing, a timer. Now, obviously, I've made a timer and I've been using it, but it wasn't that good. The ideal that I wanted is something that was written. What are you even saying, Alisa? Obviously, it's going to be written. Ideally, by me, and ideally, more importantly so, in a way where I could... Let me actually show off what I mean better. Where I can have this thing telling me, hey, your timer is up, meaning written in AHK, I can only presume, because info, this thing that you see at the top of the screen, is an info, and I have a video on that. I tried writing it, and Alistory remembers my struggle. Essentially, I fucking discarded the idea, because trying to work with JSON and using AHK at the same time seemed like a horrible idea. It just wasn't working how I expected, because the very important thing about making a timer in AHK is the timer itself is easy, very much so. Making it so it doesn't disappear when you reload the script, now that's the difficult part. And I finally solved it by installing a different tool. It's called Termdown. If you run it without any options, it just starts counting. So it acts like a stopwatch. If you press E in this mode, nothing happens, but obviously I said it for some reason. You can press space to pause, which is a very important feature that I wanted, but was not sure at all how would I implement. So you can pause, you can press R to reset, which is brilliant. You can use plus to add 10 seconds and minus to remove 10 seconds. And I think that's all, but let's look. What else do we have? So I said E because this is free, sure. Termdown, let's say 5 minutes. If we press E right now, we will see the time. Wait, what do you mean 5:40? Oh, Jesus, right, it's 5 a.m. Yeah, that's how I live. So yeah, it shows you the time it will end. If we press space to pause, for now, it goes away. I press space again, and the ending time has changed, which makes sense and is how it's supposed to work. It's just still kind of surprising that it does. Okay, then R for reset, L for lap, and let's try this out. And now when we quit it by pressing Q, it does indeed show you lap 1, lap 2, lap average. I would be heavenly surprised if you were running with your laptop and counting your laps like that. That would be so cool, but I doubt it. Still, very cool feature which I'm not sure how to use. I'll probably come across a reason to though. So here are the hotkeys that you can use. But other than that, it's not. You can use it as a timer naturally. Which is just the thing that I showed you, and it uses the format that I was just using in my own timer, which is worse. But the way I specify time is exactly the same, which is kind of heartwarming, I would say. So 1 hour, 20 minutes, 30 seconds. So you put the number and then the a letter of the timestamp. You can see at the top that you can specify it pretty much however you want. So you can try it out. And how can you try it out? By pip install Termdown. That's how you install it. So it's written in Python, for better or worse. So you have to install Python to install this thing. Doesn't take too long on Linux though. If you're on Windows, I'm not even sure if this works for you. It's supposed to. Well, let's actually... Now, this is installed on my Linux system, so I can't even show you whether it does or does not work on Windows. It probably doesn't. Well, you can figure it out for yourself, or by reading the GitHub page for it, which I'm going to leave in the description. Now, to be fair, if it's written in Python and not necessarily in Shell or something like that, it should be cross-platform, so it should actually work on Windows. Well, you can figure it out for yourself because the tool is so good that I would say it's worth trying out, even if there's a chance that it doesn't work for you. So here you are, installed the tool, great. Now you specify the time, great. That's hilarious. What? If that usually worked. Now, I do wear glasses, so I might be blind, but it's saying this works. Funny thing, it used to. Now it doesn't, so it's most likely an issue on my part. Somehow, not sure why, but yeah. Essentially, this was supposed to give you a fucking clock. So let's try to only specify one thing. So, a timer for 20 minutes, which is something that I use really often, because I usually do 20 minutes of work, then 5 minutes of rest, and then that in a cycle. So you can press R to restore, repeat, reset, right? Space to do all of those things. And this is not actually the default font. So let's look at other things that we have in this app, I guess, terminal CLI, whatever. First of all, one thing that I use is -A, alt format. Let's go to my zshell rc and look at the alias that I have for this. So I specify a couple of things here. Let's comment it out, update my shell, and try to run the same command again. So this is how it is by default. And I'm not sure if I want to actually go back to this now that I think about it. Well, yeah, and it also uses a slightly different font. Looks similar, but it's actually different. And so I specified that. You can use different formats, and you can actually specify them yourself. Here at the top you have -Z and -D to specify your own format, which I imagine only works if you have -A. Yeah, I'm not gonna use Vim motions and fucking less. Ain't no way. And we have different other options that we have. For example, if you're using actual Linux, where this would work because of the audio things, you can make it voice out the time every amount of time, or voice out every like second, or maybe even do a command every second or every couple of seconds, and so on. So this and other things that you see here. You can choose a font, which is what I did. You follow this link, it opens a website, you can look through and choose the font that you need. So let's actually have a quick look so you can see what you have the choice from. A lot of them are just goofy, but maybe you like them more than I do. And the one I picked, I will show you in just a second. What is uppercase W? Let's see. Oh, this is just useful, so it doesn't even try to update the terminal title, which is not what I at least currently need or want. My terminal emulator automatically silences all of the terminal title changes, but I don't even want it to try. And that's all of the things that I found useful for myself. But as you can see, we have execute command, runs command every second, which is so cool for I don't know what, but goddamn. And the coolest thing about the timer is not just the timing of it. What if you wanted to wait 20 minutes and then do some command? For example, remove slash, oh, for real, slash, no, preserve root. I hope you didn't actually type this in. Please don't. Delete it all, because this deletes the entire Linux fucking distro. At least in theory it should. Yeah, what if you wanted to make a fucking time bomb? Call your friends, say, hey, there's a certain timer on your system that will delete it entirely in 20 minutes. You have to buy me pizza immediately. And then I'll press Ctrl-C to cancel it. But if you don't, basically, I don't know, you could do a prank or whatever, really. But basically, the idea of running a command or a string of commands or a whole script after some time is incredible. It's true that cron exists, and it's a thing that runs a script or a command every amount of time, usually daily or like every month, whatever you decide. So cron exists for that. But if you just want a single use, run this command in this amount of time, well, this is perfect. Maybe you have some server that lets you interact with your computer through your phone. So you make a timer to boot up this server by the time you have actually went outside, and then you can connect to it. Sure, you could just boot up the server immediately, but this is cooler, right? Many different ways. And to come back to why I found this useful, and to come back to actually this, and bring it back to what I'm used to using. Now, if a timer is just here and turn down 20 minutes, I'm doing whatever, wherever. I won't notice that the timer has finished until I actually go into this tab. So I need to have some way to make it inexplicably, that's not a word, whatever, clear that it has. Which is why I made ting. I'm sorry if that's too loud, and I'm gonna make it far less loud just to be safe. Probably not to this point. Okay, so ting plays a ting and also shows you the info that I was talking about at the start of the video. Meaning, now I can do Termdown 5. If it's just seconds, you don't even need to specify S for seconds, because it assumes seconds. And then, if that is true, then ting exit. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ting. Brilliant. So now, wherever I am, this ting will play. And perfect. Amazing. Incredible. And it also has an ability to pause. I'm so ecstatic about this because what I used to use for this is fucking Windows clock. And I should stop fucking smoking already because my throat is hurting. It's hard to speak, and maybe it's more of because this is the third video in a row that I'm recording, but coming back, this app is technically, yeah, okay, it's actually like very good. You have the timer. You can set an alarm, which is not that useful if you use alarms for sleeping. You can have a stopwatch, pretty cool. I think I don't remember if space actually does anything, but yeah, I made some HK stuff for this. Basically, cool app. Big bad thing about it, I have to use the mouse, and I'm a Vim user. I don't want to use the mouse, and at the same time, I don't want to use a shitty app that I couldn't write in the way that I actually wanted to use it. I can use this and do the timing things that I need, which is just, I love this. So the way I use this, usually this tab has two windows, one for a stopwatch. So whenever I'm like free falling, doing whatever, I have a stopwatch to just keep a lookout for if I'm doing the same thing for too long. Maybe I'm programming something on my own terms and I'm like doing it for 40 minutes straight. Doesn't sound too long to a programmer, but it does add up, and I should be taking a break, especially after 40 minutes. Like, look outside. I'm not gonna go outside, obviously, but at least look outside for a few minutes, and then you can come back. And then at the top, I have, oh my god, what's this? You never mentioned this, Alisa. Well, this is in a function. I wanted to say an alias. It's actually a function that is called timer. And it doesn't do much. It just calls Termdown with the arguments that you pass it, and then calls ting, which is what I showed you just now. I just renamed it so I don't have to type that in myself. Yeah, my voice is really like tiring out. I'm not sure how I'm gonna be streaming. And actually, yeah, I want to stream, and I'm going to eventually, somewhat soon. So keep a lookout on my channel. Turn on, right, the notification bell, so you'll know when I stream. Cool, timer, great, amazing. Now I can work for 20 minutes, and then I can just hold this to make it do its thing. And sometimes when you do it for too long, it freezes. So let's press Q, and it should still ting, and it does. Perfect. And now I can understand that, oh, now it's time to rest. And now timer 5 minutes. Let's call it this because I don't actually need this. One last thing before I go, actually show you the ting file. What does it do? First of all, you could just use SoundPlayer here. So SoundPlayer and then the sound. Oh, you don't even need to have a sound. You can just use sound beep, and this is already good. But I don't even have a good enough reason for this because I could just be wrong. But there was a video some time ago, I'm gonna leave a link to it in the description, where I essentially showed off how you can play multiple sound effects at the same time. What do we have here? I think, yeah, we have this. I severely underused this, and you might like that or dislike that. Do you want to hear this in videos? I think it's hilariously funny, but I might be out of my depth here because I'm a teenager that likes stupid memes, but maybe you, my audience, are a bit more serious than that. I don't know, truly. I have this, which is just the funniest sound effect. So in the video that I link in the description, as usual, I explain how all of this works because I can actually combine all of these sound effects at once. And the reason why I'm using it here is because I think it plays files better. I might be completely wrong on this, but that was my feeling through a little bit of testing. Then I use infos, which I think, yeah, I do mention in the description already. that shows me, hey, timer ran out. It waits for me to close that info, and then it exits the actual HK file. And once it does, let me actually show you a bit more concretely. Let's press Q so it actually plays. As you can see, this info exists, and this terminal thread is being held up. But once I close it, it gets freed. So this is exactly what I wanted. So if you enjoyed this video, you probably don't want to see this annoying stopwatch. So Q, I guess. And I don't know how to close it for some reason. Sure. So if you enjoyed this video, press a like, type some comment, maybe you have a question or suggestion. Definitely subscribe so you don't miss my content, but most importantly, stay fresh, cheese bags, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye!